Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar, starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago. Political leader of the Patriotic Front, Michaela Pandey, says the citizens have been misled by the government's campaign promise to lower fines. She's 100% correct. She said that while the government had promised relief, it delivered punishment through the implementation of increased road traffic fines. And not only road traffic fines, we're talking about other types of fees and the custom fees and so forth. In a social media post yesterday, Pandey challenged the government statement that the public was misinformed by the raise of fines. She went on to say, you cannot stand on a platform, look at citizens in the eye, promise lower fines and driver education. That's what Kamala Persad-Bissessor promised that she was going to do. Give people driver education and reduce the fines. Win an election and then turn around and say, now we know better. That's what we are saying now, people. That's the excuse they are using now. Now we know better. The people were not misinformed. They were misled, she said. She questioned the government's claim that during their time in opposition, they did not have access to data, which is not an excuse at all, people. My response, Michaela Pandey is 100% correct. The population was deceived into believing that Kamala Persad-Bissessor would reduce traffic fines and would refrain from imposing new taxes. But a few months later, after winning the general election, administration broke their campaign promise while adopting PNM's obey the law narrative. This is not something new, people. PNM and their supporters used to be using this while UNC was in opposition and opposing it. All of a sudden, we are using it as well. Well, they are using it, not me. We were all aware of these traffic violations even when PNM was in government. So there, we didn't know isn't a valid excuse for breaking their campaign promise, people. Listen to why. Millions of dollars were being allocated via traffic fines under the PNM. So Prime Minister Kamala would have been very aware of the lawlessness that she's talking about now in TNT, and yet offered alternative ways to address the issue. I'm telling you, people, unless some of the most significant members of the United National Congress, along with their activists, come out and tell the Prime Minister, we are not condoning this anymore, the United National Congress is heading for a landslide defeat in 2030. Tired of losing your keys, phone, or coins in that annoying gap between your car seat and the console? We've got the perfect solution. Our universal car seat gap fillers are back in stock, ready to save your stuff and make your ride clutter-free. Available in black, brown, beige, and red, they're designed to fit any car seat and blend perfectly with your interior. Simply WhatsApp 762-6589 to place your order and enjoy delivery straight to your door in just 1 to 3 days. As the increase in traffic fees continues to draw public attention, the reality of some other fees is also raising concerns, like what I said just now there, particularly those affecting businesses, the same businesses that Kamala Persad-Bissessor was speaking about while in opposition. For instance, people, the cost of a work permit is now $900 per month. That is $10,800 for 1 year. And in addition to an application fee of $1,200, bringing the total to $12,000. For 2 years, the fee is $22,800. For 3 years, $33,600. Work permit fees. We're giving you a little information about it here, right? Duration, previous fee, and then the current fee. The duration, 12 months. 6,000, it's gone up to 12,000. For 24 months, 11,400, it's now 22,800. 36 months, it was 16,800, it's now 33,600. Bar license fees now. License, previous fee, current fee. Spirit retailers license was previously 4,500, it's now 9,000. I'm telling you, everything Kamala doubling, people. Spirit grocers license was 4,500, it's now also $9,000. Double again. She loved doubles. I love doubles, but the food. Special restaurant license, same thing again, 4,500, it's now $9,000. Night bar license was $6,750, it's now $13,500. My response, my dear UNC supporters, are these double fees being imposed due to lawlessness too? Can you all tell me that? Please answer that in the comment section on my YouTube channel or even on TikTok. Assistant Commissioner of Police Brian Sodin said yesterday that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will review the practice of conducting road traffic exercises during peak hours, such as, of course, the first day of the school term. Government Minister David Lee asked why it appeared to the traveling public that when school terms reopen, like this week, police and licensing officers conducted road traffic exercises, which of course frustrated the motorists, the public. He asked why these exercises seem to consistently take place during peak hours when parents are attempting to get their children to school on time, noting that such congestion occurred on Monday when schools reopened. Transport Commissioner Clive Clark placed responsibility on the police. Of course, they will blame each other, explaining that these road exercises are pre-planned by the TTPS and that licensing officers are required to follow instructions. Clark said licensing officers rarely work independently and instead operate alongside police officers during these coordinated activities. Now, the thing about it is, people, if they were instructed to collect as many traffic fines as possible in order to generate revenue, don't you think that is why the TTPS will decide to be able to have these roadblocks in a time when they could be able to confront or to access a larger portion of the population? That's exactly what is taking place. So I'm not really believing that the government's concern is genuine at this point in time. Political activist David Welch stated that Rowley left the country in a mess and that Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar now has to fix it. Now, of course, he is correct when he's speaking about that to them. That doesn't mean that what the measures that she's putting in place are justified, people, but it was not part of her campaign promise. He said that this is the fault of the PNM's mismanagement. My response, don't blame Rowley for Kamala lying to the citizens in order to win the general election. She knew PNM would have left the country bankrupt, and yet still she went on to promise not to impose new taxes and also to reduce fines. No one, people, forced her to make those lies. She should have been honest with the people during the campaign. Promise. Tell them that yes, we will be there to improve infrastructure and revive the economy by reopening Petrotrin. But we would not be able to reduce the fines. We will have to increase it in order to be able to generate revenue. Instead of doing that, she did the total opposite during the election campaign.
You won't be disappointed with this one. Look and feel great every day. Painless trimming with no pulling of hair guaranteed. Comfortable to hold and lightweight. Intelligent anti-pinch system. Safety travel lock. Accurate and painless trimming. Durability 100% quality. Fast charging. To place an order, call or WhatsApp 868-762-6589.
Former Finance Minister Com Imbert has called the government sadistic over its increased taxes and fines, saying that poor people were being targeted. Wow, Imbert. Imbert claimed Trinidad and Tobago has gone from a democracy to a dictatorship just 8 months. The Diego Martin Northeast MP was speaking at a People's National Movement meeting in Sangre Grande on Wednesday night. My response, Imbert, of all people, suddenly cares about the poor after raising the price of gas multiple times and grinning while doing so. Now that, people, is a joke. PNM always pretends to care when they are not governing the nation. And now we have an extremely dishonest version of the UNC who aren't afraid to break their campaign promises. So people, of course, you know what's going to take place. As I keep saying over and over again, Trinidadians vote PNM by default. They're going to say they prefer to vote for the PNM who they are accustomed being dishonest with them than to be betrayed by the United National Congress. Guyana's President Irfan Ali has announced that the soon-to-be constructed New Hope Canal in Region 5 will unlock some 55,000 acres of new agricultural land for farmers. Now, that's a president who works hard for his money, hard for his people. Speaking to residents during a land titling exercise at Rosignal on Friday, the president said the investment will significantly improve drainage across approximately 186,000 acres of existing agricultural lands between Mahaika and Abari. The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, and the government have vowed a zero-tolerance approach toward individuals demanding money from residents for electricity reconnections in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Residents from various communities in the hard-hit parish of Westmoreland have reported that persons claiming to be JPS contractors have approached them requesting payments to restore electricity. I'm not doubting that at all. That's why you need to use your phones, use the internet to be able to expose these situations, people. JPS President and CEO Hugh Grant has said the company has made it clear that no payment should be required for these reconnections because, remember, it was disconnected because of the hurricane, not because of non-payment of any bills or anything like that. A minor earthquake with a magnitude of 3.1 was felt in the sections of Kingston and St. Andrew on Thursday night, according to the earthquake unit at the University of the West Indies, Mona. Thankfully, there have been no immediate reports of damage or injuries. The unit says the quake was recorded at about 10:31 p.m. The United States military yesterday actually, seized a fifth oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea, reportedly near Trinidad and Tobago, as the U.S. government furthers its blockade of Venezuela's crude exports in the aftermath of its extraction or the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro last week. My response, there's need for a fresh election in Venezuela to ensure that democracy is restored as soon as possible. President Delcy would rule that country with the same type of policies and laws which were implemented by Maduro. International news now. Reports indicate that Ayatollah Khamenei has ordered the IRGC, one of Iran's most powerful institutions, established as the principal guardian of the 1979 revolution, to reinforce local law enforcement units and enforce zero tolerance. This means protesters will no longer face the police alone, but the army itself. Let us continue to pray for the citizens of Iran while they seek restoration of democracy in their country as well. Closing off now with the interesting facts segment. A simple act of kindness by a 10-year-old boy has touched hearts around the world. In South Africa, young Vaughan saved his allowance for months to buy a bicycle for his friend Tony, a gas station attendant who walked long distances to work every day. Instead of spending the money on toys, Vaughan chose to help someone he cared about. When Tony received the bike, the emotional moment showed how genuine generosity can create powerful bonds. For people in the U.S., the story is a reminder that compassion doesn't depend on age or wealth. Sometimes the biggest hearts belong to the youngest among us. He already knows what it is to be his brother's keeper, people. Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, bless, and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.